Folks were hungry after COVID for interpersonal collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we were able to do when we built our Lean Ambassadors bench was we created a inclusive Lean community of practice for anybody who was interested in Lean stuff. And then we inculcated change management principles in our white belt, yellow belt, and all of our Lean Six Sigma trainings so that people would understand that we are changing hearts and minds first and then process second. It felt like the mindset shift was what we really needed, and that was the difference. It wasn't jamming tools and stuff down people's throats. It was, do you see a place that you can make things better? Let us show you some simple tools and stuff and how to do it. And once they were able to make some simple things better for themselves, then they were all in.
Hey everyone, I'm Elizabeth Swan.
And I'm Tracy O'Rourke, and we are from the Just in Time Cafe. Welcome to our podcast. At the cafe, we wrestle with tough questions, we talk to groundbreakers, we discuss great books, and we get insights from leaders and practitioners who are making a difference in the world.
We let you in on helpful apps, we bring you the news, and we challenge the status quo so you can build your problem-solving muscles.
So Elizabeth, what is on the cafe menu?
Well, you may have noticed, Tracy, it's a brand new year, and today's highlight is our conversation with Bernadette Hill and Priya Vankatesan of UC Davis, two leaders who've helped shape a culture of improvement using approaches that may surprise you. And their work reminds us that progress isn't always driven by tools or frameworks, but how people show up for one another. And instead of our usual book buzz, hot app, or Q&A, we are closing out the year with something different, a moment of reflection. After all, reflection is that step we're most tempted to skip and the one that gives us the biggest chance to learn. So, pull up a chair. Let's do it.
All right. Up next, it's some 2025 reflections.
Tracy, here's a question for both of us. What is your why, and how did you live that in 2025?
Gosh, I love that question. And I could answer it in two ways. I could say my why in my personal life or my why at work. So I'm going to stick with work and say that I feel like my why, well, first of all, the big one is to help others. I feel like I'm always working to help others be successful in process improvement. But I feel like the intersection I really focus on is the intersection of joy and productivity. So how do we actually get results, but we actually have fun or have a good time doing it? I don't want process improvement to be a slog, and it can be. So I feel like I really lean into that why, because part of it is who I am. I think, I am a joyous person. I'm not always, covering things up and pretending things are happy all the time, because trust me, I've been through a lot, like lots of other people, but I choose joy, and I want to be joyful in the work that I do. And I want others to be joyful in the work that they do in process improvement together. And I feel like there is a lot of joy. And sometimes people focus on things that are not joyful with process improvement because it involves tough things like getting people to change. And so that sounds horrible. And it was so funny. I mean, a stranger asked me, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And I was trying to not say Lean Six Sigma. And I was saying, well, processes, I look at processes and I help people try to improve and streamline processes at work. And she looked at me and she goes, "That sounds horrible." And I laughed just like that, because I'm like, actually, I love my job. I love what I do. And she just looked at me like I was a freak. So, I will say, Elizabeth, that I didn't always, it took me a while to arrive at my why. Mm-hmm. And, I'm going to be honest and say in my early 30s, I was very nervous, and I felt like I needed to be a certain way, and it wasn't me. I felt like if I was too much myself, people wouldn't take me seriously, because I was joyful and happy. And sometimes I felt like people associate, how do you say it? Naivety? That they thought I was naive because I was happy. No, it's a choice, man. So anyway, I feel like I'm really coming into that now, and I'm just leaning into it more and more. And I think it's because I just don't care what people think anymore. I
Uh,
mean, I'm kind of like, well, okay, if you don't like it, go find your people. I mean, you've heard me to say this before, and and I say that with love, and you've heard me say that before too. If you don't like it, it's okay. You don't like my music videos? Okay, sure, go find your people. But this is me, and I'll find my people. So, anyway, I'm really not only leaning and finding my joy, but defending it. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yeah.
I'm defending my choice of about my why.
Yeah. And in terms of how you lived it in 2025, you just mentioned your parody videos that you definitely dove into those, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really have a lot of joy in doing those, and we just finished recording the video part for the music video, so that was super fun, and I had a lot of learnings around it, and I will continue to do one once a year until I have joy, until I either don't have time or it doesn't bring me as much joy, or I find something else more joyful. But for now, that's my plan.
I love it. And just your dedication to that spreads joy, right? I mean, you haven't even released one, and I'm already, anytime you do a post on LinkedIn, I'm like, ooh, I gotta see this. There's people dancing. How awesome is that? You know, what's interesting, one of the examples of what you just said, Tracy, is in terms of like, the silliness, the joy, and people, giving you that feedback, like, you can't be a serious practitioner with all of this, laughter and whatnot. And I'm thinking the Oklahoma Thunder basketball team, which I have a family connection to, they were given a lot of public, I don't know what the word is, like people would diss them for being so goofy. Like when
Oh,
one of them gets interviewed after the game, they all pile around, they put towels on each other's heads, they put like, necklaces around the interviewer. They are goofy and
uh-huh.
laughing. And people were like, you have to be serious, if you want to win a championship. Oh, they won a championship. So I feel like, yeah, no, you can have these two things happen at once, man, and you should, right? If that's your joy.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I love that you live that. And you do. And it's probably why we get along so well.
Yeah,
But
so how about you?
okay, so it's tough to be succinct about yourself. And it was interesting you saying kind of your life versus your work, but I really do feel like yours blends over. I mean, you are the hostess with the mostest. You have just like fabulous gatherings, which are all about joy. But if I try to put mine in a bracket, I would say it's opening people's eyes to what they're capable of. So they leave conversations, challenges, moments, feeling bigger than they arrived. And I want them to see that same potential in others, right? It feels like a kind of a cyclical thing. So if I consider this year where that happened in abundance was with my students at UC San Diego Health. And I am always surprised at the extreme level of anxiety that they have around, the improvement effort. When they show up for coaching, it's like they are throwing themselves on their swords, like, I failed, I didn't do this right, I don't know what I'm going to do. And they're convinced, right? This is just a disaster. And I listen to what they've done, and I'm like, well, this is fantastic work. Like, I don't know where's the disaster here? And I tell them that, and then I can see their faces just light up, right? And their shoulders ease, and it's like they got newfound power, you know? And I think the thing I realized, it isn't just newbies, right? I'm coaching people that are new to this work, but I find this applies to people at every stage of their lives and careers. We often assume people who have tenure, years of experience, advanced degrees, big titles, fancy books, they're pretty much aware of what they're capable of. And it's important to challenge that assumption. Don't be fooled, right? That's my mantra. Everybody has their blind spots, right?
Mhm, mhm. You are so right. And I see that just in general in some of my Greenbelt classes. People are hard on themselves. I mean, okay, I would call it a normal distribution. So there's people that are really hard on themselves. And then there's some people, not as many, sorry, there are some people, not as many, that don't care. Right? And you're like, hey, pay attention. So, but I find it's more often the people that are putting a lot of pressure on themselves to do a really good job. And I sense that, and I want to alleviate that to a degree, because I don't want them to think that this is harder than they think, because sometimes this looks and sounds complicated, and they're like, what do you mean I gotta deliver results? Oh yeah, you gotta deliver results in 4 months. What? Like, I can't just recommend a plan? Nope. You actually have to deliver results. And then they get a lot of anxiety around that. Yeah. So I agree. I love that is your why. I didn't mean to interrupt. So I don't know if you want to expand on that more.
No, I don't want to expand on that. I want to kind of just bring this idea to a close, and just for our listeners, thinking about what is your why, and look back on this past year and just think of examples of how did you live it. And that I'm going to do some more work on this myself. I feel like I know that piece of it, but I'd love to think about this more. So that's my challenge now as we draw this year to a close.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that I feel like there is a correlation. I have no data, but I feel like there is a correlation between your strength and your connection to your why and happiness and joy. I don't know. What do you think? You think there's some data that supports that?
I'm going to write a book about it, Tracy, right now, based on what you just said. You're so on the money. I'm Elizabeth Swan, and you're listening to the Just in Time Cafe podcast. In a short while, you'll get to hear our interview with Priya and Bernadette. One of them hosts 2 podcasts.
Up next, it's more of our year in review. This time it's about what went wrong.
Okay, Tracy, what was your faceplant moment of the year?
Okay, thank you, Melissa, for inserting that vocabulary word into our daily conversation, faceplant. Thank you. So it's really funny, because when we were interviewing her, I was thinking about my faceplant moment, and I have to say, it's funny. Okay, so I think it's funny now. It's funny. It wasn't funny at the time. So
it never is.
I recorded my 3rd parody music video this year, and so as everybody knows, well, I hope you know, I am not a singer. Okay, I don't sing. I'm a terrible singer. Somebody played a joke on me, and I was in a karaoke bar, and they said, okay, and now Tracy's going to sing Livin' La Vida Loca. They surprised me. I didn't know. I got up on stage, and I started singing the song, and they took the mic away, because all right, next, because it was so bad. I was screaming into the microphone. Anyway, may have been because I had a few drinks, too. So anyway, so I stick to rap songs when I do my parody music videos, because it's not singing, it's just talking fast. I'm really good at talking fast. So, but I ran into someone at a conference. His name's Trey Arnold, and he just looked at me and he goes, I have your next song. And I'm like, what is it? So he told me what it was. I'm like, oh my God, that is so good. It's so good. So I was like, yeah, I got to do it, even if it's a singing song. So anyway, I rewrote all the lyrics to the song. I practiced, because that's what you have to do before you go into recording. You practice make sure you got the beats right and the pace and the rhythm and all that. Go into the recording studio. I was in there maybe 2 hours, and I get the track, and I'm listening to the track on the way home. By the time I got home, I was like, this is so bad. It's so bad. Oh my God, I can't even listen to this. I was like, what am I going to do? So I have 3 options. I can either, number 1, learn how to sing. Number 2, use the heck out of auto-tune to make me sound good. Number 3, find somebody that can sing, and ideally someone in lean process improvement. So I ended up going with option 3, which is collaborating, because I love to collaborate with people. I found a colleague friend, Fanindra, some Raj, and he's a singer. And so I said, why don't you come and help, be in my music video and help me sing the song? And he was like, yes, absolutely, 100%. So we went back in the studio and we recorded the song with him. And he also came in to be in the music video. And it sounds 300% better. So definitely never hire me as a singer. You definitely want to hire me as a consultant, but not as a singer.
I remember you singing in Japan when we were at the onsen with Katie, and it was karaoke night. But I think in that case, not only had you had some sake, probably all of us had. So everyone sounded good.
Everybody sounded good, and you couldn't hit replay, which is the key.
But how hilarious. But we can't count on that with the music videos that all the listeners will have had a little bit of sake. So I think that, redoing it with the singer is great. But that's an awesome faceplant. Thank you, Tracy. I remember you feeling like, oh, my Lord, this is so terrible. There is no hope.
There's no hope. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but you pulled more people into your orbit like you do, and things got more joyous. So,
all right, how about you? Let's hear yours.
Okay. What's really top of mind, because it happened on our last episode, which coincidentally was the faceplant episode. So during our Q&A, I mentioned an interaction I'd had with Hugh Alley, who had been on the editorial board for Picture Yourself a Leader a few years back. And for those of you who don't know Hugh, he's the author of Becoming a Supervisor and a Brilliant Human Being. And Hugh let me know when he was on my editorial board, one of his pieces of feedback was that he considered my chapter recaps better than the intros. And he was right. And I mentioned that, right? And shortly after that segment aired, I got an email from Hugh, and he told me that listening to this episode made him cringe. Oh. He felt bad for being so blunt with me, and he wondered if we were still okay. It killed me. I mean, relationships obviously are huge for me. And first off, I thought, hey, Hugh listens to our podcast. Woohoo! But then I realized I had failed to frame my interactions with Hugh in the proper light, right? I so valued his input, and I valued it so much that I use what I learned from him daily. And I had just recounted what I'm going to say to Gemma Jones, another improvement maven, because we're talking about writing. Mm-hmm. And I was telling her what I learned about writing, and I wrote him back immediately to let him know what I told her. And I said, here's what I learned. I no longer use but in a sentence where I can avoid it, because, as he pointed out, it negates what came before. And now I experiment and I try and instead, and I see if the sentence holds up. And I swear 90% of the time it does. And it's a better sentence. Yeah. I now have a keener eye for using cliches, which I kind of assumed I would never use a cliche. And he pointed out like 2 or 3 in one paragraph. I was like, what? And it was just offhand. He's like, well, there's already 3 cliches here, so I would say that's blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, Lord. So I'm way more observant of that. And I learned a new technique. I developed my own technique. If Google tries to finish my sentence, then I'm like, oh, well, that's probably cliche or expected. So when it does that, I experiment with a way to say, what I'm saying differently, right? It's kind of a fun challenge. Like, oh, no, don't finish my sentence. I will change my sentence. Mm-hmm. His comments about my recaps makes me strive to be more succinct, right? I'm forever looking to find the fewest words that say the most. And the last one's kind of a grammar issue. I'm wondering if you run into this. And I've been ignorant of it for years. He pointed out that he used the contraction their apostrophe S a lot when it should have been there are based on the sentence structure. So, of course, the app Grammarly that you and I reviewed this year, and I'm using it, I'm assuming you had been, that it's on top of that, right? Doesn't it point it out to you?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, that exchange with Hugh was so uplifting. We ended up with like kind of a renewed pledge to make good on a really cool book idea we came up with that we want to bring into the world. And so that what started out with both of us feeling like we'd stepped in it, right? Like, turned into this inspiring reflection on the kind of the fruits of our collaboration and gave me some excitement, right? So my reflection is, thanks, Melissa Bowie, it's okay to step in it, but it's even more okay to follow through, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, recognizing that, oh crap, and then moving forward with it and then having a learning, embracing it, right? And I think a lot of us are good at learning, from our failures and lessons, and they are usually learning moments. I sometimes feel like, the level of openness could change depending on shame, right? If it's done publicly or personally, I think that has a big difference. Just like the basketball team you were talking about, like they're being judged publicly because they're being goofy. And, that could be an issue. Sometimes it makes people feel like, well, I mean, maybe they're saying, so what? I'm not changing. Just, I mean, you shouldn't have to, if you try to like satisfy everybody, you'll just be miserable and satisfy nobody. Right.
Yeah.
So why not just live for yourself?
Live for yourself.
That's right.
Tracy's takeaway. There are, not theirs, there are so many face plants we could dive into, and each one is packed with reflective learning. If you choose to, pay attention to that, Tracy. And it's also a good reminder of how we're human, and so is everybody else.
Yes, we are human. That's what makes everybody special and lovable.
Hear, hear.
I'm Tracy O'Rourke, and you're listening to the Just in Time Cafe podcast. We host these monthly, so you can go to www.jitcafe.com and go to our podcast page.
Coming up next, it's an interview with our featured guests, Bernadette Hill and Priya Vankatesan. Tracy, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about these two?
Yes, I will. Priya drives operational excellence at UC Davis, where she leads Lean Six Sigma training, champions continuous improvement through yellow and green belt programs, and bringing learning to life with engaging tools like Articulate 360. Her work in building a lean community of practice reflects her commitment to education, collaboration, and making processes better for everyone on campus. Love that. And then Bernadette is a continuous improvement strategist, Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, and the creator of the CI Shift and the Black Belt Circle. Whether she's guiding transformation in higher education, coaching through recovery, or hosting the Savage Simplicity podcast, Bernadette brings clarity, heart, and daily practice to the work of change. Together, Priya and Bernadette are shaping a culture of continuous improvement in higher education. UC Davis is lucky to have them. And we are honored to have Priya and Bernadette at the cafe. Well, welcome Bernadette and Priya to the cafe today.
Thank you for inviting us. We're excited to be here.
Thank you for inviting us, Liz and Tracy.
Absolutely. No, it's a pleasure. And it's great to talk to you guys because we are both connected to educational institutions. So, and there's different things that go on for continuous improvement. So could you guys give us a little background on the when and the why you got started on the continuous improvement journey at UC Davis? And I'll let you guys decide who goes first.
Priya, do you want me to, since I started first and you started a few months after? So Priya and I almost started at the same time, and I'll kind of kick it off with where we were when I started, and then I'll hand it off to Priya. It's actually, I started 4 years ago on December 6th, so it's just been over 4 years. My previous, I've been in continuous improvement for about 15 years, and this was, higher education is a different animal, and I love it so much. So I've found that it's a great home for me. The fit in terms of, personality and learning, lifelong learning culture is there. So I love it. When I started, the university had just started its journey about a year before. I began working with the university in 2021, December of 2021. And in 2019, they'd already launched their Yellow Belt program based on what UC San Diego was doing. But at that point, that's where we were. We had a Yellow Belt training, and we had just the burgeoning beginnings of a lean community of practice when I started. And I'm going to hand it over to Priya.
Thank you, Bernadette. So just like Bernadette said, I'm new to UC Davis. I'm new to this continuous improvement world. It's 3 years for both of them. So, and I also restarted my career after 16 years career break. So I did not have any knowledge of continuous improvement, though I was doing some kind of continuous improvement, in my life, in my real-time life, and the part-time work I was doing, some kind of process improvement. But I didn't know it was that. I didn't put a name for that, what I was doing. I joined when I was hired into this department of Office of Business Transformation, and all the work they were doing is about process improvement. And then I came to this world of Lean Six Sigma without any knowledge of Lean Six Sigma. So I came to the department, and they had this white belt self-paced training, Lean Six Sigma white belt self-paced training, and that was the first thing I took as a part of onboarding. I did all the trainings that was available, and then I sat in the Yellow Belt training as a student, as an attendee, as a participant, to understand what Yellow Belt training was, how the training went on. And Bernadette and our manager Erica, and I have one more colleague, Michelle, they were all the facilitators in the class. I was just watching them, observing, participating in the class. And I was so energized. It was like something new to learn. And also in my first month I joined, I also helped Bernadette with the 5S project. So, and it was working in a lab, standardizing, in a veterinary genetics lab. And that was a cool project. I was like so enthusiastic and seeing everything happening in live, so just putting things together and assisting Bernadette. So that was my first continuous improvement experience, like first few projects that I did. And that's where my continuous improvement journey started. And now I'm Green Belt practitioner and doing so many things in UC Davis. So that's my journey. That's how it kickstarted.
So what is it about? So why did UC Davis decide 4 years ago-ish to do CI and a continuous improvement program? Was there a burning platform? Was it just something that they felt like, we really got to do this in line with the other UCs? What do you think the impetus was?
From what I understand from my boss, there was one organization that sort of handled the change management aspect of change and the process improvement aspect of change. It was called Organizational Excellence. And at some point, and I don't know why, but at some point they split those two areas out. And Organizational excellence really took hold of the change management, people change aspect, and started teaching specific rigorous change management courses. You could become certified. But those folks ended up working more on the health side. And for some reason, my boss, who is the business transformation manager of our office, ended up more on the campus side. Yet 4 years later, we are all over campus. We serve, our small little department serves, has served now over the last 4 years over 23 unit schools and colleges across campus. And so we're everywhere. But anyway, that's where it started. So they split those two up. And I was actually hired originally as a contractor, not as a full-time employee. And it wasn't about almost a year after I started, I think we started to grow things enough that process improvement, language, and we got the attention of some of the provost who started to desire kind of a goal of building a continuous improvement culture. And that was 2.5 years ago. And then we started really vamping up our Lean community of practice. And now it's over 500 strong from originally just a few folks. So I think it's grown quite a bit. But that was the impetus. Sorry, I went a little bit farther than you asked.
No, and you touched on something that we are keenly interested in, and which is the culture of continuous improvement. So what does that look like today at UC Davis, and how has it evolved since you two began this work?
I can answer that question because since I started with this unit, And as Brenda said, even I was hired as a contractor, and within 6 months, I was promoted to full-time employee. And because we were getting more and more work and more interest in yellow belt training, white belt training, and the training that we have built together, Bernadette and I have collaborated on various training e-learning modules. We have designed various Lean Six Sigma based e-learning modules together, and so that has taken. That was many employees showed interest in that, and even from students, faculty. I mean, we had vast employees, not just from staff, but every department and every unit showed interest in us, and they wanted to learn more about process improvement. And also, in our chancellor always talks about the culture of continuous improvement in our gatherings and big, like conferences. And our vice chancellor Radhika Prabhu, who heads our unit, she encourages us about process improvement, and she also started her work in UC Davis as a process improvement consultant. So I remember, Elizabeth, you came to our Lean Ambassadors branch. I invited you over as a guest speaker, and thank you so much for your time. You came, you virtually attended our kickoff, the first Lean Ambassadors bench. Oh my God, we'll talk more about that later because it is so much growth right now. And Radhika was also, she welcomed us during that event, and she touched upon the process improvement piece of it and the culture of continuous improvement. And since it's been 3 years, we have seen so much growth. We have evolved so much. And we have our members in our listserv for Lean Community of Practice. We are at almost 500 plus members right now. We started like from very low, like a 30-member team unit. Now there is more and more interest. And also I do a lot of outreach initiatives for the team. I bring visibility to the training and services that we provide. And it's not just for process improvement, all the work that we do as a team, combined team, the change management part. We also do the communication the training part of, we have another part of the team. So I represent the team and go to new employee welcome events and be in resource fair and make myself present in any of the conferences and events happening. I also love to interact with people. Networking happens, right, Tracy? We met like that in Process Palooza. So all of this, there's so much growth we have seen in the 3 years. And I'm just looking forward to, I'm sorry.
No, that's a great, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You're on a trajectory, but I was just going to say, this is kind of a great segue into one of the questions I've been wanting to know is, so you've had some great growth, great success, a lot of pull for the program. So share maybe a best practice that you think has been working really well through your deployment, something that maybe you feel like is a differentiator for how you've been able to implement process improvement. Like, I'm going to tell you one thing people struggle with a lot is how do you get people to want to do this? Sometimes people don't want to do it. So is there anything that you're doing, like a best practice or something that you're like, oh, this is my favorite thing about what we're doing that has worked for this kind of growth? I know it might be hard to pick one thing.
There are a couple, but I think folks were hungry after COVID for interpersonal, collaboration. And one of the things that we were able to do when we built our Lean Ambassadors bench was we kind of looked at our Lean community of practice that was that was pretty exclusive to just the green belts that had already went through the program. So 70 at that point when I started, when we started the Lean community of practice, kind of growing it, there were only 71 folks that had been through green belt. Well, they were the only ones that were invited. And so 17 of them, 15 of them, then 13 of them, then smaller and smaller numbers would be on the bi-monthly calls, right? And they would be we're giving information out rather than they're coming because they really see value in collaborating. And when we kicked off the Lean, Ambassadors bench, we knew that we'd have to make this an inclusive group. Anybody who was interested in process improvement, anybody who was interested in any kind of change. And we combined the DNA of process improvement and the DNA of change management together. So right from the beginning, when we brought that Lean Ambassadors bench together a couple of years ago, we did a gap analysis. We had a whole in-person event, and we did a gap analysis of using change management principles from ProSize ADCAR that said, hey, what about awareness is not why aren't we reaching people? What is the gap in awareness? What's the gap in desire and in ability and all of that capability? And why aren't we reaching people? And so those lean ambassadors who were invited signed a commitment letter that they were going to come at least a meeting a month. We had, I think, 10 folks originally, and these are passionate people. These are your change agents. So what we did is we gathered our change agents. We brought them into the Lean Ambassadors bench. We created a inclusive Lean community of practice for anybody who was interested in Lean stuff. And then we inculcated change management principles in our white belt, yellow belt, and all of our Lean Six Sigma trainings so that people would understand that we are changing hearts and minds first and then process second. And that is how, and because we've led with that approach, that's sort of how we've been able to, folks at higher education institution are not the same as the culture in manufacturing, not the same as culture, in some other industries. These are people that work for a nonprofit. They really care, not that others don't, but I'm just saying they may have a different motivation. And it felt like the mindset shift was what we really needed. And that was the difference. It wasn't, jamming tools and stuff down people's throats. It was, do you see a place that you can make things better? Let us show you some simple tools and stuff on how to do it. And once they were able to make some simple things better for themselves, then they were all in. The other quick thing, and then I'll turn it over to Priya, because this will be Priya, you could talk to this better than I can, is that Priya became our little water spider. So as you guys know, and we think about a water spider as that connective tissue, that person or there's somebody that goes in and may be the connective tissues between different departments or different processes, that integration piece. And they're all over the place. And she was at every event that, first couple of years, just planting the seed, representing Lean Six Sigma and Office of Business Transformation. Nobody knew, I didn't know Staff Assembly was having this event. She would go and do a tabling, right, just for an hour and sign people up for, information. And so that's how it's kind of grown over the last couple of years.
Before Priya takes that on, I'm loving, well, first off, that you did the gap analysis with ADKAR, the awareness, desire, knowledge,
ability, and reinforcement.
Just in case anyone listening doesn't know the acronym. But then the other thing I'm loving is the use of the water spider, which is classically in manufacturing. And if anyone's unfamiliar with this role, say if people are on the line and they have, a stack of materials that they're using on the line, whatever they're building or helping to create, and the water spiders will run to make sure they have materials and sort of keep the line running. And I've seen it, in hospitality, in hotels, but I've never heard it as part of the role you're describing for Priya, and it makes such great sense. It's also very attractive, just sort of thinking about, how would the water spider work in terms of keeping the flow and the building of the culture, which is really cool. So, okay, over to you, Priya.
Thank you, Bernadette. So yes, Bernadette and I are like someone other day said, put a feedback in our training, calling us a dream team. So I just want to mention, because we really collaborate very well. We support each other. And Bernadette has been, I see her as like my mentor. She has so much years of experience. So when I came into the role, not just Bernadette, I'm talking about my entire team, very supportive, always there for me. And a person like who has so many years of career break, I always have like this, will I be able to do this well? And there's all these questions racing in my head, and the team has been very supportive. And with UC Davis, there's so many professional development opportunities it's given, and I take advantage of all of that. So as Bernadette was saying, I go to do outreach initiatives, which when I came here, I was like, I asked my manager, so we are not representing our team well. We need to be out there, visibility. We need to bring visibility for our team so that we can get in more folks for our trainings and spread this culture of continuous improvement. So she said, go ahead. And then that's it. And whatever events that I come across, I would just go and represent and I present a lot of informational sessions on Lean Six Sigma, because when folks not related to Lean Six Sigma, they are in other fields, they will see the term Six Sigma and they're scared. Oh, this is something related to math or analytical world. So I would say this is not, anyone can take these lessons. I mean, these trainings are open to everyone. If you're thinking about process improvement, it's about making things simpler. That's our tagline for our lean community of practice. And so just take a complicated thing and break it into simpler steps. That's what we go for. And I present these informational sessions in aim to bring more and more folks. And as Bernadette mentioned, be very inclusive. That's what I do. And I encourage folks to sign up for the training and at least attend we have office hours run currently bi-monthly. So we do encourage folks to attend office hours, just drop by. If there's any question related to training or process improvement, we also have one-on-one breakout rooms. So we do all sorts of things now. And that has given more visibility, and folks are interested to participate in our training. We are easily accessible for any questions or any anything that they need. So we are there on email, we are on Slack, we are on LinkedIn, we are everywhere. So it's easily folks can get access to us. They can we have an engagement service request form there, and Bernadette is very skilled in Smartsheet. I learned so much from her. So she has learned and created several Smartsheet automation stuff. So I'm learning from her, and entire team is learning from her actually. And so there are so many good things, positive things that's been happening, and it's so much joy. It brings us so much joy. These work.
I know we exhausted this topic a little bit, but I just wanted to add one quite quick little thing. We're also practitioners. So I know Priya mentioned training a lot. We do training, absolutely. We do formalized, training. But I'm a practitioner first, and so I'm always managing projects as well. So currently, and in my last 15 years, in this last career, I work closely with folks, right? And every time I touch another department that we don't know, that we haven't worked with before, it's an opportunity for us to teach the methods, to do the change management, to whether or not they're in a green belt training or Lean Six Sigma particular training, they're touching a project that's about process improvement or making things better. And I am an advocate. When I'm a practitioner, I'm an advocate for spreading the word. And so we have developed a lot of practical tools that help people get unstuck. And because of that, they sing our praises. So it's not just they came into our training or we tabled an event and they learned about it. We've worked with them closely for months, a year, weeks, whatever that is. And then they see the change and experience it. So they're able then to be our voice as well.
Very cool.
Yes.
So I'm curious, is there any experiment or improvement initiative that did not go as planned? As we know, we begrudgingly learn from failure, but just sort of there's something in your mind that, oh, that didn't work out well. And so we pivoted or we took this from it, or how.
And I'll just say, to give you a little more time to think, I just asked this on a tour I went on in Southern California, and I asked her, well, what did you try and it failed? And it took them a minute to think about it. But then she told me, this is the CEO, she said, well, in order for people to feel more comfortable about failure, everybody would share a failure they did in the morning huddle. And she goes, and I would start, and nobody ever felt comfortable sharing failure, and it was just uncomfortable. And she was like, it just wasn't, it didn't hit the way we wanted, so we stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, I'm going to say one more thing before you kick off, and that is, I knew another group that developed a weekly meeting called Failure of the Week, and they competed.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Because they wanted to raise the profile of what didn't work and get people comfortable with then learning from those things. But anyway, over to you, Bernadette.
I often experience failure. I just think of it, I think, a little differently. If I was talking about 5 years ago or more, when my confidence kind of took some hits in some previous things that I've done, I've definitely experienced failure where I thought I was right and was not right. Using a wrong tool. One classic one, I think, one of my biggest ones 10 years ago or so, was trying to convince leadership that we needed this new piece of software, this tool, right? And they kept pushing back. And one of our Lean Six Sigma consultants actually told me, Bernadette, just because you have, what did she say? When you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? And it was a huge learning for me that I hadn't explored the simpler, easier methods. I would kind of jumped to a solution. And there was a reason for that and all of that. But since then, I've made lots more mistakes. But I would say in UC Davis, the failures I see are more about learning. So for example, our yellow belt today does not look like the yellow belt I designed 3 years ago when I first designed it. And that is because it did not hit with everybody. It was, I designed a simulation that was way too complex for what people were trying to learn. And we saw that come back in the feedback, right? When we changed it, we saw different feedback, and we started seeing people bring their teams in to our yellow belt. Like now we've got people that taken it once, got excited about it and bring their teams in. In terms of projects, what I'm finding that I struggle with is that I don't have the institutional knowledge, being at higher education just 4 years. And a lot of the times I might be using language that's from the manufacturing days. And folks in higher education may not relate to that. So I've had to really adjust my approach. Somebody that's working in science doesn't want to be told that they've had a defect. They're learning from those things, those scientific hypotheses, their scientific tests. So that's been some of my main issues, or my main failures, I would say, has been in not being able to influence people because I haven't maybe had the right approach in terms of getting to know them, understanding their process before I go in. What I've learned from that now is I do a lot of benchmarking first before I go in to understand the process. So at least I'm speaking the same language. And then I think about how they might be receiving me, and try to go in with a different approach. And that's sort of where I've seen my failures in UC Davis.
And I will just say before Tracy follows up that I've built two or been involved in the building of more simulations, and always simpler was the lesson. Like, it's amazing how intricate you think you got this whole thing worked out, and it just blows up because people are like, I don't even know what's going on here. And I just spoke to another friend of mine. We came from the same firm decades ago, and I joined him recently on his simulation, and he told me how ornate that thing was to start and how much simpler it was in the iteration that I saw. So you were not alone in that failure.
Thank you.
Over to you, Tracy.
Yes. And I really love what you said about reflecting on your impact for change, because I sometimes feel like people think, they assume everybody's on board, right? And then when they don't do the work they're supposed to make sure that they're on board, and then they act surprised and shocked when they say this is what we're going to implement, and people go, no, we don't, and then they're like, oh, they're not on board. Well, hold on a second. So sometimes I think looking at how we approach what we could have done to help that change happen, I sometimes feel like people assume, oh, it's them, not me. So I really love that reflection of what could I have done to make that change happen easier. So love that. And you don't have to share necessarily a personal failure, Priya. I loved yours, Bernadette, because it was personal reflection and growth, but also related to continuous improvement deployment. So Priya, how about you? Anything you want to share?
So for me, it's a very good question, first of all, about failures. It gives us a perspective, and just like in A3, we have the key lessons learned, the box where you talk about project, what you can do better in the next one, or what you learned from the things that you didn't do right in the current project. So it goes back to me. For me, my first project, the Greenbelt project that I did, was the UC Davis Continuous and Professional Education Programs Greenbelt program. That was my first Greenbelt project. And when I did that, initially the process owner and myself and Bernadette coached me. She was a black belt coach. And when we were all together, the first thing I realized was we wanted to involve more the sponsorship onboarding. And not just me, several of my Greenbelt cohort, everyone said, "Oh, we don't have enough uh, cooperation from the sponsor. We fail to update them, or they are not willing to give their time or meet with us, or so those that was a main point that I learned from my project, and also the projects that I consulted with, so on, because they don't have the time, or because unless you have the sponsors involvement in a project, the project is not going to be successful, because you have need their time, and they need to be updated on what's going on. And if the project champion or sponsor is not getting involved, and then you probably, this project is probably a lot of ROI. You're expecting a lot of money to be saved, and labor, and there's so much involved in this project. So that was the main thing I learned from the project. And also, when my project took off, we had an we wanted to automate we wanted to use the IT resources, external IT resources, rather than using the internal, whatever resources that we have on hand. So what we did, we wasted a lot of time waiting for the IT to come and help us. So it got like one and a half months delay. And then they came back and said, we don't have enough time, right? We don't have enough resources. We cannot help you with this project. And I was like, oh my God, what did we do now? We wasted so much time. So then that's again other lesson. So let's do a backup. And then we just used the Excel to automate, because that project involved a lot of manual calculations. So the process owner wanted everything to be automated. So Bernadette here, as she is she has excellent, amazing Excel skills. So she and myself and the process owner, we all sat together, and we did a lot of working sessions together. We did several working sessions together, and then we did everything in Excel. So we didn't need IT's help. We didn't need anyone's help, any external resources or external stakeholders or any other subject matter's help. So it's just three of us working together. And that was excellent improvement. And that's a big lesson that I learned. Use whatever you have on hand, and then if it doesn't work out, don't waste the time. You reach out to external resource. That can happen in the background, but until then, have something, keep working, don't waste your time.
That's a brilliant learning. And I think I'm going to take that snippet and record, of you saying that, and just play that for every single group of greenbelts that I have that immediately want to include IT. I can hear it coming too. I can see in the way there's phrasing the problem. I'm like, oh, you think you're going to go and have this change made by IT. I was like, what else are you going to do? Because that may not happen in the short window you've got. So we're coming to the end of our time, but what I want to touch on is, Bernadette, you have many oars in the water, and I think you can hear in your voice the excitement, the reach, the momentum. You do a lot. And one of the things you've done recently, which has been fun as far as I'm concerned, because I got to go on your podcast, but can you tell folks about Savage Simplicity and what you are doing with this podcast?
Yes. So a year ago, I decided to launch a podcast. I didn't know anything about podcasting. I didn't go look up how to podcast. I just thought, I wonder if I can do it, and I did it. And so everything that you experienced is just kind of my own way of developing things, which actually ends up at the same place. I mean, I think you guys run your podcast very similarly, but it's been amazing. So Savage Simplicity is about, me talking with that particular podcast is about me talking with smart women who are doing smart things to simplify their lives, and I'm learning from them. So the onus of that is it's an interview show, and I've really increased my knowledge in terms of I would say troubleshooting, decision making, thinking more about how Lean Six Sigma, my professional world, has melted into my personal world. And I might have said this to you, Elizabeth, at the time, but I don't believe in work-life balance, right? Everything's life. It's all life, and if we can't make friends at work, and if we hate our jobs, the rest of our life is going to be bad. So why don't we try to make our life simpler? And that's what Savage Simplicity is about. So whether you've got kids that are yelling at you at home and you wish that they would do their chores, or you wish you could take more of a financial, a better hold of your financials at home, or you want to use Lean Six Sigma just to kind of think about small, steady improvements that can lead to big transformations at the end, it all melds together. And that's what Savage Simplicity is about. It's showing examples of that. And I've just actually launched a new podcast yesterday called Leanverse. And that's all about Lean Six Sigma, but how it's also relatable to your home life. So using talking about actual Lean Six Sigma terminology and such, but making it relatable to the normal person that I don't know what this means, but yes, I understand the concept and the principle behind it, and I can apply it in these everyday challenges that I have. So I don't know, it's all part of my life for me, and that's why I'm excited about it. I'm in the right job.
Yeah. Why stop at one podcast when you can have two, Bernadette? Why stop there? And then any parting words for our listeners, Priya, before we wrap up? And I'll make sure everyone gets links to you guys on LinkedIn and the podcasts, Bernadette, and all other pieces. But yeah, go ahead, Priya.
Oh, I just want to say I was also one of the guests on Bernadette's podcast. So happy and proud of her. And she had one more. And also, thank you so much for Liz and Tracy for inviting us to be a guest. And this is a great platform for us to talk about the work that we do with awesome. So much growth that we have seen. And since Elizabeth, you are there, I keep reminding me about the Lean Ambassadors Bench event again and again as I see you and talking to you, the background and you joining us. And you're generous enough to provide us a copy of your book as well, right? So it was all great. And just one. I want to let everyone know that I'm also a Clifton Strengths coach. And if you know the strengths, the strengths program, it's about what you are good at, not necessarily what you're not good at. Everyone has their unique individual talents and strengths, so let's focus on that. The whole program, Clifton Strengths, is all about that. So I got training in UC Davis, and I loved so much that I took the coaching program and became a coach, and I'm a volunteer coach in UC Davis as well. So along with this Lean Six Sigma process improvement stuff, I also do coaching as well, and also. So there's a lot of other work that I do, and even Bernadette, we also serve on administrative advisory committee in UC Davis. So there's so much things happening within the organization that I'm grateful for the opportunities that's been given.
Wonderful.
Well, it was a pleasure having you at the cafe. We really appreciate you guys coming and hearing all about UC Davis's growth and success. It energizes me to hear success stories and continuous improvement. So thank you for that gift today.
Yeah, yay for you both. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for the invite. I enjoyed myself. Very much appreciate you both. And thank you, Priya, too.
Thank you all.
Stay tuned, since Elizabeth and I are going to be sending out a recap of all the fabulous guests and some of our favorite discoveries from this past year.
And there could be some prizes. We love prizes.
Yes, we do. Stay tuned for all the news by joining our community at the Just in Time Cafe.
Thanks for joining Tracy and me for another fabulous year of podcasting. It made us both smarter. And now we have more friends.
Yeah, love that. So join us next month and every month so you can get your jolt of lean caffeine.
Woohoo!